because the residents of Vrindavan were pure, unconventional devotees of the Lord and could think of Him only as their object of love. They did not know that He is the personality of Godhead. The Yadus or the residents of Dwarka, however, could know Lord Krishna as Vasudeva, or the Supreme, or the Super Soul living everywhere, but not as the Supreme Lord. As scholars of the Vedas, they verified the Vedic hymns, Eko Deva Sarva Bhutadvisha Antaryami and Vrishninam Paradevata. The Yadus therefore accepted Lord Krishna as the Super Soul incarnated in their family and not more than that. Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurvai Namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Translation again. The Yadus were all experienced devotees, learned and expert in psychic studies. Over and above this, they were always with the Lord in all kinds of relaxations. And still they were only able to know Him as the one Supreme who dwells everywhere. So it's an interesting text, this one. So we're continuing our discussion on this chapter, Remembrance of Lord Krishna. So now we're just going to talk a little about Krishna, that He comes in different features or forms, can be realized. One is Paramatma feature, the one that the Yadus are seeing. Krishna present in the heart of all living entities as the Super Soul. What's the verse in Bhagavad Gita where Krishna says, I am present in the heart of all living entities, Paramatmeti Chapayukto. That's the one where Krishna says, I'm in the heart of all living entities. So, the many verses, one of them is that one. So, Krishna, as we know, in Bhagavad Gita he says, Upadrishtanu Bhartacha Bharta Bhogda Maheshwara. So, he is the overseer and permitter of all the activities in the heart. So now the Yadus want to see Krishna as the Paramatma in the heart. That's what they only know, even though they are great and all experienced devotees, learned and expert in psychic study. But still they can only see Krishna as only in the heart and not more than that. And Prabhupada mentions another point in the Prabhupada that in Vrindavan, they don't even see Krishna over there in this. For them, Krishna is just the object of love. He's not Supreme Personality of Godhead like we know Him as. He's the only object of love. The only thing they think about Krishna is as love. Just like for a person who's madly in love with someone, he doesn't think if this person is, what identification this person may or may not have. They just want to love him fully from their heart and nothing else matters. So this is what we can't judge or we can't imagine the amount of love that Vrindavan gopis or Dhamvasis have for Krishna. We can only try to read and understand about it through our little knowledge that we can understand. But the only reason we are reading about all these things, why are we reading about this great love, this pure devotional love, is so that we can realize that this is the highest level of love. There is no greater level. And one may ask, what is the definition of pure love? What does it mean to love someone? We often hear that love is the essence of many things. If you want to become a good friend, you should love that person. If you want to become a good relationship, if you want to have a good relationship, you need to have love. If you want to have a good parental affection, it's full of love. So as we heard that love is usually the essence of many relationships in different levels. But what is the essence of love? Nobody ever talks about that in the material context, because they don't understand what is the essence of love. The essence of love, in Krishna explains that, and even in Prabhupada in the introduction of Bhagavad Gita explains that very clearly. The essence of love is service to that person. Without service, there is no question of love. So like for example, all the great devotees, they just want to serve Krishna with all their heart and devotion. They don't want to do anything other than that. That is their level of love. Without love, without service, there is no devotion. Just like even in this material world, we are doing service, somewhere or another. For example, a wife or a husband, they serve each other if they want to have a loving relationship. Or like a boss or a student is serving his teacher, or a teacher is serving his student. Or a boss is serving his employee, an employee serving his boss. A lot of people have pets, they're serving the pets are serving them. So there's always full of service. That's where love comes from. Without service, there is no concept of love. So if you ever want to increase your love for somebody, do more service for him. But that's not what we really want to do. We think by doing more service, I'll probably not like that person anymore. Yeah? Has anyone ever thought about that? Or is it just me? Yeah. So we should not think like that. We should think from the eyes of Shastra. Because the Shastra is telling us, if you want to achieve pure devotional service, the level of pure devotional service, you gotta render devotional service to that particular individual. Or in our case, Krishna. So if you want to develop pure devotional service towards Krishna, or pure love towards Krishna, you got to render pure devotional service. Not thinking that am I going to get any benefit, or am I going to get anything out of that? The gopis don't think like that. We hear this beautiful pastime where Prabhupada was explaining that the gopis of Vrindavan, one day Krishna was pretending to be sick, and what did he do? Krishna was sick. Krishna can't get sick, but he was only pretending to be sick to relish that nectar, the pastime. So, and the local, his friends and everyone was just assembled around him and asked him, "You're sick, what can we do to help you? How can we make you better? Please tell us." And what did Krishna say? "Go to the gopis and bring some dust from their lotus feet and bring it to me." And they said, "Okay, we'll try that." So they went, Krishna said, "Go to anyone from Vrindavan and bring the dust of their lotus feet from Vrindavan. Or any of my devotee, bring the dust from their lotus feet and bring it to me." So they went to look for Krishna's devotees and asked Krishna's devotees, please give us some dust of your lotus feet. Krishna is sick, he will put it on his head and it will make him better. And what did the devotees do? Like, "No! What are you talking about? He's Krishna. We can't give him any dust. We'll just suffer so badly. It'll be the most sinful thing we can ever do." So So they went to someone else. "Please, Krishna is sick. He's asking for a little dust of your lotus feet." And they do, no, this is not going to happen. We cannot give you any dust, because we don't want to suffer. And Prabhupada said, this is not pure devotional service. For a devotee, you can't imagine, you can't conceive. Like if someone asks you, your spiritual master asks you to give you your dust, what can you do? You're like, "Oh no, this is not going to happen. This is the great aparat." They're not saying it wrong. They're actually thinking the right way. But still, there is a level higher than that. So nobody gave the dust. So they went back to Krishna and told Krishna that no one's giving the dust of their lotus feet. So what can we do? Krishna said, "Well, go to the gopis of Vrindavan. They will give you very nicely." So they went to ask the gopis, and they asked the gopis, "Please, Krishna is sick. He's asking for a little dust of your lotus feet. Please give us." Like, what did the gopis do? What was the reaction of the gopis? "Take whatever you want, If that's what pleases Krishna, that is all we want, is our Krishna to be happy and not sick. So please take the dust. Please take whatever you need. Whatever you need, no problem." Prabhupada is saying that is pure devotional service. That is love. When you don't care anything about yourself, you don't care that, am I going to suffer? The gopis were like, it's okay, if we suffer, no problem, we will suffer. But Krishna should be happy and pleased, no matter what. So that's the level that we should reach. Even I was reading yesterday actually in Chaitanya Leela, very beautiful pastime from Chaitanya Bhagavat. Once Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also pretended to be sick. Even though we know Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's Supreme Personality of Godhead himself, he cannot get sick, but he also pretended to be sick. And in that sickness, he was just in a total different mood. He was just telling people, just started yelling that I am the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Vishambhar, and devotees were like, what's wrong with him today? Because devotees also know that he's Supreme Personality of Godhead, but they still have such a great loving emotion and loving feeling towards Vishwambhar or Lord Chaitanya, that they sometimes treat him as a friend because they are his associates also, So, and the devotees were saying, man, what's happened to him today? Is he possessed by some witch or something? What's going on with Lord Chaitanya? What is he doing today? I mean, we know Lord Chaitanya cannot be possessed by anything, but that's how they're relishing the nectar. And some devotees are saying something else, Some devotees are saying, I think there's something wrong with Lord Chaitanya today. What's going on? I can't understand. And devotees keep on talking like that. And when Lord Chaitanya was hearing that, he was just laughing because he was relishing that nectar pastime with his devotees, So this is nectar. And the devotees were putting oil on his head, thinking that, just by putting this oil, Lord Chaitanya will become better. Hopefully he will become better. Mukunda and many other great devotees were present there. They were putting oil in Lord Chaitanya's head, rubbing oil, and it was amazingly described in Chaitanya Bhagavat that they kept on rubbing oil so much that once Lord Chaitanya was dripping of oil because there was so much oil being rubbed, but still couldn't make it sick. So once Lord Chaitanya decided, okay, this is it, and all the devotees were in great anxiety that our Lord has become sick. How can we help him? What can we do in our possession to make him better? They were ready to do anything or everything. That's the mood of a great devotee. But then Lord Chaitanya decided that, okay, this is it. No, I'm not going to give them too much more anxiety. So he, by his own accord, decided to get better again. So it was fine, back to normal. So these are the pastimes we hear, These pastimes only teach us that the nectar is relished between a devotee and his Lord. That is beyond, that we cannot conceive. So we should not judge another person's devotion towards the Supreme Lord. We can only judge what about our own devotion. That's what we can judge. So we should just focus on that, how we are advancing. We are not pure devotees. We are trying to be following in the footsteps of the pure devotees to reach that platform of prema. So it'll take time. It's not a one-night process. It's not an overnight process. You joined this con today and now you're feeling all the great symptoms of pure devotional service. You may feel a little bit like we see, when we can see from our own example, when we were new bhaktas, we were like, oh, everything is awesome, everything is like pakka, everything is like, I have to do it the right way, dancing and jumping in ecstasy, and everything, chanting Hare Krishna loudly, extremely loudly, so that the whole world knows I am a pure devotee. Has anyone ever done that? No? Good. We should not try to pretend, but sometimes we feel like that. We have a little joy, because we appreciating something beautiful, which is not wrong, it's good. But somewhere or another, when we grow older in ISKCON, we trying to lose all that enthusiasm that we had in the beginning. So the acharyas have explained, if you want to make full advancement in pure devotional service, we should not lose our enthusiasm. Why does the devotee would lose his enthusiasm? Because enthusiasm is all we have in Krishna consciousness. If you want to advance, the day you lose enthusiasm, you lose everything. Because there is no concept of making advancement without being enthusiastic to serve. Imagine if you are just coming to temple every day, taking darshan, not even speaking to any devotees and going away. What's the point of even coming to temple? There's a little benefit, of course, but are you making advancement fully as you can? Probably not. So the Acharyas have explained. Rupa Goswami is in his beautiful little manual, instruction manual, known as Upadeshamrita, has instructed us, nectar of instructions, instructed us that one should be utsahan nishchaya dhairyat. Utsahan, that means enthusiasm, right? So one should always have that enthusiasm. Even Krishna is saying in Bhagavad Gita, where does Krishna say that? Satatam kirtayantu mam yatantascha dridvrata. Yatantascha dridvrata. What does that mean? Endeavoring with great determination. Why is he saying that? Because he knows somewhere or another, for sadhana practitioners can sometimes lose that enthusiasm. That's why he's clearly mentioning that never lose that enthusiasm in Krishna consciousness. We do see some great devotees who are always fired up, always enthusiastic in doing their service. They're so excited, they're so eager, give me more service, give me more service. Yeah, only very few devotees are there like that. Usually devotees are like, please take more service from me. I can give it to you. So this is what we should remember, that we should be always enthusiastic to serve the Vaishnavas and serve the Supreme Lord in any way, in any tiny way possible. I remember from my own example, I used to think like this is the service I like to do, so this is the service I should be doing, nothing else. I just want to do that. I don't like cleaning, I just want to do book distribution, so that's all I should be doing. But then until my spiritual master corrected me and told him that's not the mood of a devotee. A devotee doesn't discriminate. Yes, there are preferences, we have our own interest and we have our own skills, that we can use in Krishna's service. In the beginning, that's okay. And when the new people come, we engage them in that way only, We try to engage a person in a certain way that he would feel connected and he would feel inspired to keep doing that service more. That is good. But once you're making advancement, once you've been in the movement for a little while, you should be thinking that, is that the only thing I should be doing? Yes, I like this service, I would like to continue to do this service, but I should also expand my skills. Prabhupada told one of his disciples that we need to train everyone to do everything. There was a beautiful pastime that once in India, I think they were taking a train. Prabhupada was with Yamuna and some of his top disciples, and they were taking a train from somewhere to somewhere. I don't remember the details, but like A to B, we can say, for example, they were taking train from A to B, and in between there was a stop. They stopped at Delhi station. In between, there was that's not the destination where they were going. It was just a little stop. And Prabhupada just looked outside the window. He said, "Oh, this is Delhi." He looked around and told Yamuna and some other disciples, "Need to get down here and go start a temple." That's what Prabhupada said. They were not even planning to go to Delhi, and Prabhupada just looked at his disciple and told them, "Okay, go start a temple." just like that. And the disciples were so surrendered, they did not like, what? If someone says that to you, you will just be like in shock and I don't know anyone in Delhi, because they're from overseas, and they don't know anyone in Delhi, and they're not just like, they are a bit bewildered now what's going on, but what did they say? They said, "Yes, Prabhupada." They just got down. It was about a 10-minute stop tops, If you travel through India, the trains don't stop more than 10, 15 minutes, stop 30 minutes, And imagine Prabhupada saying that, just take all their luggage and whatever little they have, they weren't even carrying too much. Had no contacts, nothing in Delhi. So just stopped in Delhi, just got out in Delhi, and that's it. Started somewhere, figure out. So that's called the level of surrender to Krishna, to please the Guru. There was another story, I think it was the same train ride, where once Prabhupada felt like eating something and he told Jamuna to bring me some rice. And Jamuna just like, okay, Prabhupada. So she ran down all the way. So if in Indian, usually I don't know about old trains, but the trains that I've been through, the kitchen and stuff is very dirty. It's like super dirty, and it's like somewhere at the back, there's like different sorts of stuff being cooked, not taken care upon. So it's just like very, very dirty kitchen, and it's not a very good condition. So they went, and Yamuna went to the kitchen and said that my spiritual master would like some rice. And the person working in the kitchen is like, oh, it's not my problem. It's your spiritual master, you take care of him. You're like, okay, then let me cook. I would like to cook some rice for my spiritual master. And they're like, no, you're not allowed to cook in this kitchen. It's a trained kitchen. Only the official people can cook in this kitchen. You're an outsider. You're not supposed to cook in. You might imagine you take a plane ride, and the air hostess come and you tell the air hostess, no, I don't want what you're giving. I'll go and check whatever I want. I'll take it myself. And what would they do? The cabin crew will just go like, no, just sit here. That's not your job. That's not your business. There's no business for you to attend in the cabin crew. So what would we do? We're not that highly focused, we'll just like, okay, we're fine. So we'll just sit there. But Yamuna Mataji was just, she's like, I am not going anywhere. I have to cook for my spiritual master some rice. So let me cook. Otherwise, she actually threatened. She tried to jump off the train. She said, I'll just jump off the train. That's what she said. That's actually mentioned in Lilamrita. She said, I'll just jump off the train. And then everyone just like, oh, she's some Westerner, who knows what she will do, we don't know anything about them, what sort of people they are. So they just like, and she's a lady, never, in India that time you would not see a lady just being so bold and just going, I'll jump off the train if you don't let me use the kitchen, So they didn't know what to do, so they just all right, come just, use the kitchen. Just cook whatever you want and just leave us alone. So Yamuna Mataji came, and the first thing she did was clean the kitchen thoroughly. Cleaned the whole kitchen, the whole pot that she was going to cook. And she just had to cook rice. She cleaned the whole area that she was going to cook because she's cooking for a spiritual master. She had to cook with full love and devotion, with full cleanliness, with full standards. So she did her best, scrubbing the pots, where she's going to cook, scrubbing the area she was going to cook in. And then she finally did cook some rice. And then she brought it to Prabhupada, and Prabhupada was like, very good. He was very impressed with what she has done. So that's why we hear these pastimes of great servants who have done great service for the spiritual master and for Krishna, because you can't please Krishna unless you have pleased the Guru. So we should do our little best we can. We can't copy or imitate these great souls who have performed great amount of devotional service. If we look back how his convert started, you would be you just can't conceive with your own little intelligence I can't conceive how devotees have done the situation like we hear the example of New Vrindavan, in West Virginia, the farm. It was like what? If you see videos of that farm before, it was only like a dead area with nothing in there. Now if you look at it, and devotees had no skills at all for construction or whatever, but they still decided that this is going to please Prabhupada, and they learned those skills to be able to perform service. And look what it is now. It is one of the biggest masterpieces ever created in ISKCON. So Prabhupada Palace. So there's many other examples like that. Devotees initially, like book distribution, how that was started. Nobody knew how to distribute books on the streets. They had no idea. Once someone just stopped by, I don't know who it was, but they just stopped through the petrol station or something, getting the petrol filled, and someone just instead of giving cash, they would try to offer them the books, and the other person took books, and wow, that's a good way to do book distribution. So that's how the book distribution was pioneered, and then so many devotees got trained up, and everyone just got inspired to do that service, and Prabhupada was so pleased to see his disciples distributing his books. That's when there was so much instructions and so many exchanges that, just keep engaging in Sankirtan, just, bring the book distribution forward. And BVD was working hard that time. If you hear from Gurudev, he will say that there was a not possible job done in a, when the Chaitanya Charitamrita deadline was given to finish all the books, everyone just used all their intelligence, and they came up with the plan that Prabhupada will be able to deliver you one book a month. And Prabhupada no. all the books in 4 months or something. I don't know the details, but all the books. And they were like, what? Oh, that's not going to happen. That's not possible. That's even beyond impossible, So I don't know how we're going to do it, but what happened? They did it. And, I mean, talk about renunciation. When the devotee printed the last book, Prabhupada was in Vrindavan that time. So they rushed from LA to Vrindavan, took a flight, went to LA. It was Prabhupada's Vyasa Puja in Vrindavan, so he was there. And the devotee, I don't know who it was, but he rushed from LA to Vrindavan, took a flight to Delhi, and took the first train or taxi and rushed through Vrindavan where Prabhupada was, and that was evening time by that time. And they went to Prabhupada and said, Prabhupada, here it is, the final copy. And Prabhupada looked at it, and what did he say? Prabhupada said, you promised me by morning, this is evening, you're late. So imagine about that, And there's another, talk about Prabhupada's renunciation. Well, in so much endeavor and so much energy spent for the Mumbai property, the land, wherever Prabhupada would go, he would just be in Mumbai. Even though he was somewhere else, he'd still be in Mumbai because there were always exchanges. He was always a little stressed, not stressed as we know, like spiritual, totally spiritual, that this land is giving Prabhupada so much problems. The people are giving Prabhupada so much problems. But what did Prabhupada do? He didn't even wait. He departed the world before they could even get the property fully. Constructed the temple, in that property. So what about renunciation? So we should learn from these great devotees, as we shouldn't try to imitate. The messages we shouldn't try to imitate and act like these great souls that have existed. Instead, we should just get inspired and feel enthusiastic that this is the part of movement. This is the movement we are part of, This is how great our movement is. This is how great people have existed, or great devotees have existed in our sampradaya, in our tradition. And we should be able to do a little something that they have already started and founded. So it's almost time. We'll stop here. If there's any questions, comments, or corrections, now's the time to speak. All right. Grantraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Itai Gaur Premanandi.